some big event was happening today, so or this evening, so Pam was not going to be able to be here. But tonight, if we have any question or discussion, Brother Donnie's going to take the mic to you so that we can make sure that we record this so that Pam can transcribe it and we can have it in our records. So if you have a question or something later on, Donnie will help us get the mic around so everybody can ask questions and communicate. So as pastor and moderator of the church, I'd like to call us into our ministry team meeting. I still want to call it business meeting, but I like ministry team meeting better. But we'll enter at this time and be a part of that work, if I can get this to come up a little bit. My contacts don't work that far down. I've got a couple of quick things I want to share with you. Tonight we are going to have our discussion and allow you to ask any questions concerning a motion that Brother Woody shared with the church concerning security, and we'll get to that directly. But if you have any questions or comments about that, we certainly want you to be able to express that and ask any questions that you might have about that. One thing I always like to do is get the money part out of the way. So, Brother Donnie, if you'll come and give us our stewardship report. And anybody need a copy of the report?
The first thing I'd like to talk about is page 2 of this report. And this is the first 6 months of the year. This is 26 weeks into our fiscal year. And you can see that our weekly budget requirement is $9,513. What we've been given so far, the average is $8,869, which is $644 a week below our budget. Go to page 3, you still see that same $8,869 on our weekly giving, but our weekly spending has been $8,045, which means that we have brought in more than we have spent. That make sense?
I don't know what that blue mic's doing. We're going to red. Give me the hot mic.
Okay. So, $824 a week is a positive net income based on giving minus spending. So if you look on page 4, what does that really mean for the first 6 months of the year? We've added to our bank account by the amount of $21,427. That's how much more has been given than we have spent, even though we have not spent our budget. But you got to realize budget is a plan. And it's not always a good thing to spend everything you plan.
True.
A lot of times it's good to have some left over at the end of the month, end of the year, right? Now, comparing it to last year, I don't have a slide for this, but comparing it to last year, we finished last year with a positive net income of about $42,000. So if you look at where we are the first 6 months of this year, we're just about on the same pace we were for last year. Now, one thing that makes budgeting sort of difficult, especially on the giving side, is giving is not a constant number. And on page 5, this is a chart that we use to sort of predict or sort of look at what our giving patterns are. Each one of these dots represent 13-week average. 13 weeks is a quarter. So each dot, how have we done the previous quarter? And you can see there is a horizontal diamond line. That is our budget. And this chart starts at January of 2024 and goes through June of 2025. And you can see that we go up and down, sort of like a roller coaster. And so where are we at this point? It looks like we're very low down here on the right-hand side of the page. and we are below budget. But again, we are above what our actual spending level is. But the last few weeks there, we're starting to come back up. And I hope that trend continues so that by the end of the year, we are above that diamond line again. Now, on page 6, I don't like just come up here and talk about money. Stewardship is about a lot more things than just money. And if you look in the middle of that page, stewardship, a definition of stewardship, is caring for what belongs to God while realizing that everything we have is from God and is God's. And a scripture verse that sort of points that out is 1 Peter 4:10. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as a faithful servants of God's grace in its various forms. So various forms could be time, talent, and treasures. So as we think about stewardship, let's don't forget about those other two. We talk about money a lot. That's the easy number. We can count it. It's hard to count the time and talents part of it. But please be faithful in all things. And then starting with page 7 through the rest of this report, this is a more recent report than the first 6 months. This actually goes through July the 16th. So if you look on the bottom of page 9, well, it's not the bottom, it's sort of top, but if you look at the middle column on page 9, our year-to-date through July 16th, net income is still close to that $21,000. It's dropped a little bit in July. But that's how much we've added to our bank account year-to-date this year. But if you look for July in the left-hand column, we've actually spent $11,000 more than was taken in during the month of July. But we're still positive on the year-to-date net income. And then starting with page 10, that's just our balance sheet, shows what money we have where. Any questions? Okay.
This comes in the form of a motion, so it doesn't need a motion or a second. We've had any time of question. Anybody have any? I know Brother Donnie just appealed. Well, if you're in favor of adopting our financial statement, would you say aye? Any opposed? Like sign. All right. This time I'm going to recognize Brother Woody to come and share with us regarding the facilities team. And Brother Woody, I know that you made the recommendation as far as the security. Why don't we do share about the lights and parking lot and overhang and those things, and then we'll do the whatever that is we're doing, the policeman possibility. We'll address that when you get finished. Yeah, we'll read that again when we get to it.
Okay, we've got, on the facilities team, we've got a number of things that have been ongoing for a while. We got the signage up except for the handicap parking spaces. And I noticed those when I took the key back in Jeff's office this morning from when we put the money in the safe. I saw that the signs for the handicap parking spaces are in your office. So we'll try to get those installed even before we get finished with the parking lot.
There is some inside stuff that some small things.
Okay, Jeff said we have a few small things that we still have not yet completed. But you can notice the signs out front. We got one up here on the front of the church, back here on the fellowship hall. We got directional signs that are going to help us, I believe, in people navigating our church properties. The covered driveway, we talked about that, putting it over here on the east side and coming into the fellowship center We got involved, or the city got involved with us, and they're telling us we have to have professional drawings from an engineering firm, which is gonna cost us $12,000 to $14,000 to get drawn up. So right now, we're looking at options. One option is, instead of putting it over here, to put it on the west side of the building back there, which would also come into the fellowship center. Okay, and we're working in that direction to see what we could do, because we believe that we can do it over here without having to have the engineering drawings. So that one is kind of put on hold while we're continue to gather information. Parking lot. We've kind of been putting off the parking lot until we do all the work that could affect the parking lot in any way. Right now, we're doing the parking lot lights, and you may see where that Frank has had concrete people in. They poured the foundations for the light stands. We're gonna put up 4 new light posts. There'll be one over here on the corner of this parking lot, one back here close to the Dipsy dumpster. There'll be one back here by the flag poles, and where's the 4th one, Frank? Okay, up on the hill. So we'll have the four new light posts. We're going to be able to do more with our lights than we thought we would. One downside to that is it may take us a little more money than we expected, but what we're going to do is do it right and do it so that our parking lot is illuminated at night like it needs to be. The west side of our property, after it gets dark, is dark, because the lights are very scarce over there. I know the other night as we were having the senior adult function back here, I went outside and there was very little light out that back door after it got dark. But we're gonna have that put into place. Frank is now got the flag poles that he's about to assemble. He, instead of buying the flag poles, come fully assembled and ready to put up. He saved us, not the flag poles. He did the flag poles, the light poles. Instead of buying the light poles that are pre-assembled and ready to go, he bought the pieces and is going to have them welded, and it's going to save us several $1,000s by doing that. But we'll have new lights that are put up on the existing light poles, and it's going to be different than it's been in the past. It's going to be a safer location for our people. Once we get the lights put in place, we'll get the parking lot resurfaced. And the reason we're waiting on that is we're probably going to have to make 2 cuts in the parking lot to get light wires to where they need to be, so that we'll have the power to run the lights for us. I believe that's all we got. Are there any other actions that we were doing that you may have questions about that we could answer at this time? I think this is all about all that we got going for us. Yeah, the security, we're working on that, and that's going to be a big thing. Frank has developed a security plan for us. It's a detailed plan. He gave a copy to Jeff last week. He gave a copy to me last week. We've looked at it, and it looks like it's covering just about everything that we need to do. We'll have to do a little bit of fine tuning to it, but we're going to be ready before long to actually go back and identify all the equipment. We've done a lot of work on this, but we're going to look at it one more time and see what we need to make our place totally safe as we can make it.
This comes in the form of a motion. So at this time, anybody have any questions or comments concerning the facilities? Well, his report, I'm sorry. Yeah, the motion is the report that he's giving regarding those 3 areas of work that need to be done. He has another motion that he read last Sunday that we'll address that in just a few moments. Just wanted to make sure that we allow you any questions regarding those 3 projects that are going on. All right. Woody, if you'll restate that motion.
Okay, let me read the motion that we read last Sunday morning to refresh your memory. The facilities team, in coordination with the personnel team, the stewardship team, and the security team, proposes that the church hire an off-duty law enforcement officer to be on the church property 6 hours per week for the remainder of the calendar year 2025. The officer would provide support for the safety and security of our church grounds, our buildings, and our worshipers. He or she would be on site 4 hours on Sunday morning and 2 hours on Sunday evenings. Total cost of the church would be $45 per hour or $270 per week. With 22 Sundays from the 1st of August to the end of December, the total cost for the remainder of the calendar year would be $5,940. We propose that the cost to be funded from the general operating checking account of the church.
This comes in the form of a motion, so in that regard, it does not need any second or any motion made. So at this time, if you have any questions, if you'll slip up your hand and let Donnie bring you a mic so that we're recording this so Pam can have it.
Hey, I'm Freddie Capel. I wanted to ask a couple of questions now. We know that we got to have some security doors and all that are all in, I guess, maybe in the safety plan over here in the preschool. And I've been asked for 8 months about that. We haven't addressed it. This $5,000 or close to $6,000 we're going to spend for that probably could put up a door or two. And I don't know, just personally, now this is just me, I can't see where one police officer can cover all 4 walls of this church to a point that it makes a tremendous amount of difference. I know the precedents may, but personally, I don't think it's the best place to spend the money right now. And I just want to, we got extra money, but we're not meeting our tithing, our budget. We're $200-something shy or $600 shy of making it now, and we want to add another close to $300 to it. And I'm just a little concerned about maybe we ought to just slow down a little bit and think about this thing. But that's all I got.
Anybody else have a question or comment?
The only question I got, the security project. Talking about doing this till December. Is the security project gonna be ready to pull the trigger on it in January? Because basically, security project, the cameras and stuff that was, brought up earlier in the year that, we've had for the last 2 years or more. If we do this, we're gonna have the project ready to start in January.
Security plan is in effect. It's written right now. It's got a couple
I'm not,
improvements that has to be made to identify if we have a bomb threat or if we have a weather threat, we gotta move out of the parking lot stuff, gotta get that. The real good security plan is lockdown of the facility is driving us to reviewing every door, every, ones that we want to lock automatically, ones that we want to, if there is a threat, we can push one button and it locks every door in the church. And we'll have that, so that's where we're at.
yeah, I understand where we at on that, and I've done security threats in civilian life and military, but my thing is, okay, I know we got a security plan developed, but my thing is why not bring in outside, you're talking about Carmichael and somebody else, sit down with them, look at the security plan that's developed, and develop a path forward.
I think that's what, did you hear all that?
You still don't understand?
Well, I'm not supposed to speak to it, so,
What I'm talking about, you got what? We budgeted what, $18,000 for the security plan? We budgeted $18,000 for the security plan. And it's been out there. So we got a security plan now that Frank's developed. Why not bring in, we had to talk about Carmichael, bring in somebody else, have them to look at it, look at what he's developed, and develop a path forward and see what it's gonna cost to pull the trigger. 'Cause what I'm looking at, we get to December with this, what we're gonna go forward next year.
That's a great idea, because that's one of the things we were talking about. There is several companies that in fact will come to a church and do the analysis for you and look at what kind of monitor system you need, what kind of lockdown system you need, and just like the youth center, the children's center, how to get access in there, what kind of badges to use. They'll give you that whole laydown, and it doesn't cost that much money. So I think that idea is awful good. We got the plan that they can superimpose that security system onto that plan, and then we incorporate the deacons and other members of the church to execute that particular plan.
Just a question about the police officer. Was that the only source that we went to and looked at, or did we look at a security team, or as far as a company, like having a security company come in and do 6 hours, what that cost would be versus what a police officer would be?
I guess the answer to that is the main thing the security officer provides is a deterrent. And he comes with a patrol car. And he will be working for the church. This will be a Dothan police officer. And I talked to the lieutenant down there, and we will decide what he does, when he does it, and how he does it. And he's also going to be the person that we can use in the event of an emergency, a heart attack, or somebody falls and hurts himself. He will have communication quicker to get to those ambulances and the medical people to get here until we get the whole plan developed and put together. So my opinion is, if somebody was thinking about doing something, and I did this over at Calvary with a police officer, while you're in the sanctuary, he'll be out walking, but before that, he's out in the sanctuary, out in the front, greeting people, talking to people, looking around. So he's omnipresent on the campus to help deter somebody that might have a thought about doing something at the church. And he's a true value. It's a visual perception. I had a guy over at Calvary that wanted to get his daughter out of and so he used somebody else's ID to get in the door and get her and get out. Well, we were able to catch him before he got to his car.
Just in kind of reading about some of this security for church, just a thought. Now, SABA, or our Baptist Association, they provide training for churches on security. I think the cost would be minimal, much more than a security business. So I don't know if you've contacted our office there or if you know. But I do know for a fact that they work with churches and partner with churches on their security plan. The second thing that I've come across lately in just looking at this is that, a police officer, he is the church's employee when he or she is on duty, right? There is some liability to the church in case excessive force is used, has to be used. I don't ever think that would happen, but there's always that possibility. And, police officers, God love them, they're trained to react and to do what's necessary. And that's what we want them to do. But there is some liability, and we live in a sue world these days. So has anyone thought about the liability associated with that possibility? The third thing that I wanted to ask was that what are we doing now? I know in some churches, some men are trained to police the area, and I've been told here that there's a lot of people here that carry guns. Do we have people that are designated to watch the doors? Are the doors locked? What are you all doing, or have you all doing? We're new, so these just comes in the form of sharing what we're doing now, what you've done in the past, or if anything.
Let me first answer your question about the liability. I talked with our insurance agent this past week, and he has assured me that the liability insurance the church currently has would cover anything that would happen with law enforcement officers being here. He said that would be the case, and there would be no additional charge to the church. I asked him if we needed a rider on our policy to cover the law enforcement officer, and he told me no, that we would be covered by that. He said if we get an affirmative vote on this motion tonight, that we just have to get with the insurance company, and they would send a certificate of liability insurance to the Dothan Police Department for us. Okay, now what are we doing now? We're not doing a whole lot.
I'll speak.
Say again?
Okay, my name's Ann Dempsey, and I'm on the Personnel Committee. The problem I have, I love your statement, but you have to look at the age group of our church, and you are not getting young people out willing to serve on committees, and you've got to have someone who's capable of doing that. Now, the fact of, like you said, people carrying guns, I'm like Frank about that. I want someone in this church with a gun knowing what they're going to do. And I think it can get unsafe here with, you say, everybody bring your gun. So I think you got to have some kind of plan, so it's going to have to be organized. So, and I think we got to think of those situations like that. But, you know, things have been looked at about that. So I'm real concerned about the children's department. And a lot of parents are, our grandparents are, let me put it that way. And I think that that's been checked on about having the doors locked, but Richie can't do everything. He was on the committee, and he's up there. Is he up there tonight? And he cannot leave the sound booth and go check all these doors. So so we got to have some kind of plan that people are willing to help serve and do things if y'all want to go that direction. And that's why they're doing that nominating committee now. If you want to serve on a committee, you need to be speaking up.
As far as personal firearms, it's my understanding that in order for you to carry a personal firearm onto somebody's property, you have to have their permission to do so. Therefore, part of the security plan that Frank has drafted up includes a requirement that anyone who wanted to carry a firearm on our church property would have to petition the church to get permission to carry that firearm. And part of this would be that, part of the application would be that they'd have to show that they've had proper firearm training. Is it good to have our church people carry firearms? I've got mixed feelings about that. It's good to have a way to protect yourself, but at the same time, you've got to understand what's involved. We don't need people to get injured by friendly fire. We need to have people who are trained and know what they're doing to carry firearms. Now, if somebody come on the church property without permission of the church to have a weapon, and they discharge that weapon, then I think what we determined is, if we were meeting this week, that all the liability, the responsibility would fall back on that person. So that's one thing that we're looking at, is the liability involved with personal firearms. The police officer would have a firearm, but he or she would be properly trained, and they know when to pull the trigger. They know more than I do. I would not be a good one to be carrying a firearm in church.
I don't know a great deal of the plan that's being developed or has been developed, but to me, immediately, to secure the outside doors leading into the fellowship hall on the east and west side of the building, those doors may be secure, but they don't appear to be secure to me. And if there's a sign there, I think it says they'll be locked at 10:30. Well, if they're locked, they're not such a great secure door to begin with. And I think initially that would be something that could be done quickly to ensure those two doors are more substantial than what they are.
That would be part, Harvey, of what we do as we look at our physical or equipment needs. Any doors that need to be replaced, would need to replace them. That would need to be part of this. Now, as far as locking the door, they can be locked at 10:30. I've got a key to the door. If I go in that door after it's locked and I don't lock it behind myself, it's no longer locked. So having the doors locked at a particular time is not total assurance that they're going to stay locked. That's one thing that bothers me, is the fact that anybody who has a key could go through that door if they fail to lock it. Now, when I come into the church and it's locked, I will unlock it, I'll open the door, and then I'll lock it back so it will lock behind me. And when I go out, I'll push the bar to get out. When I get out, I will pull on the door to make sure it's locked. Everybody may not do that, but I could easily go in one of those back doors after they're locked at 10:30, unlock it, fail to lock it back, and it's been compromised. So that's one thing that a police officer would be responsible to do. It'd be roaming around the campus throughout the service time, and when he goes by a door, he needs to pull on it and make sure it's locked. That would be one of the things he would do, not the major thing, but one of the things that he would do.
Any other questions or comments?
What is the plan for security cameras? Are we having experts that'll cover blind spots, people who do this for a living?
We are planning to install security cameras in various locations, yes. And we would expect them to be monitored during service time. We've not yet identified exactly where they'd be monitored or who would do the monitoring, but they could be monitored. If we see anybody of a suspicious nature, then we'd be able to do what we needed to at that time. If we see somebody who comes up late to a door that wants to come in to our worship service, then we'd have the ability to unlock that door to let them in. So,
Who's going to be monitoring the cameras? I mean, is it going to be up here in the sound booth, or?
That's something that we have not yet determined. Whether it would be up here, this would be a logical place to have it during our worship services in here, to have them up here, but we don't know whether we'll have that or we'll have a room that's dedicated for that purpose. That's one thing that we have to determine as we identify all of our needs.
One of the problems that we have in the children's department that makes us feel insecure over there, we're separate from y'all, and you can't really hear us or see us and what's going on. And we try to lock that door that goes to the outside when all the children come in, but then when we take them outside to the playground, we lock and unlock the doors going back and forth. So there is also a lot of people that we see when we're outside. Patsy and I were outside on the playground one time, and we see people walk across our parking lot all the time, coming from those neighborhoods crossing. And that makes me kind of nervous because you don't know what their intentions are, and we feel very vulnerable over there. And the other thing is that the last few years when I have done Fall Festival, I've hired a police officer and sometimes paid him myself as a children's director for the simple reason that we're vulnerable, but when that police officer's here and he is walking around and he has his car parked out there with a light flashing, that is a deterrent for somebody coming in here and shooting up a bunch of kids or people walking around and vulnerable. And as women that we're mostly over there, it is a very scary thing to do when you think about how can I get all those children together if we're outside on the playground. And y'all are over here and you can't hear us. So I understand that, you know, it's a little different to think about a police officer, but y'all, the world we live in right now, I wouldn't do a fall festival or anything else in this area that we live in without a police officer. And I don't want anybody to think I'm just trying to push this, but I'm just trying to tell you how vulnerable the preschool and the children are over there by ourselves. You know, thank you.
Thank you,
Any
sir.
other questions, comments?
I would offer, if anybody's got a thought, write it down and give it to us. I mean, we're trying our darndest to think of everything, but like this point here, or any point that you think we need to do, then we'll try to incorporate that into the plan and we'll feed you back.
I just have a concern about, do we know how many people has a key to the church? I have one. I don't use it. It's at home on my bulletin board. But you know, so I think there's a lot of keys that's going around that, you know, too many people has keys right now, I think.
The yeah.
I'm just sitting here listening to all the comments that are being made, and to me, it sounds like that a police officer's presence is needed here on this campus, but I think while we're looking at paying someone from now until the end of the year, maybe during that time, and I've told Woody this before when I've been on campus, all these exterior doors concern me. There are a lot of doors that go to the outside. And maybe some of those that are not needed, maybe we need to close them up some way. But the ones that are needed, we need to have security doors, and maybe that's the first step. You know, I'm looking at, Brother Donnie gave the report on the stewardship. We've got some excess. Maybe that excess needs to be spent on exterior security doors and start figuring out a way to secure our campus.
Anybody else? Any other further questions or comments? All right. At this time, we'll call for a vote. If you're in favor of the motion was to hire a policeman to be here approximately 6 hours on Sunday morning and Sunday night. And that will be from now until the first of the year. Okay. All right.
Down to the first of the year, and as we start getting close to budget preparation time for next year, we would reevaluate this thing and see if we need to budget money on into next year. What we're doing now is trying to get us up to the end of the budget year, since this line item has not been budgeted this year.
If you're in favor, would you raise your hand? Any opposed, like sign? Motion carries. All right. Well, thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Woody, you need to share anything concerning deacons? Do you want to share anything about deacons while you're up? Okay. I'm sorry, I should have. I put that next because I knew you were going to be up here.
Okay, I want to thank the church for something that we did recently. We come to the church and ask that we change the way that we identify men to be asked to serve as deacons. In the past, or since we've been here, the men have been asked to volunteer, and we ask that the church nominate men to be deacons. The process, in my mind, was totally successful. We had 78, I believe it was, nomination forms come in. We had about 36 men that were nominated. We were able to look back at the people that the church feels would be good deacons and go to them. And instead of saying, would you like to volunteer, we say, you have been nominated. People that know you, people who've observed you, people who have watched what you do have nominated you because they believe you would make a good deacon. And we have done that. We will be bringing on 6 new deacons. We have 4 rotating off, 6 coming on, so we'll add 2 additional deacons this year. We will announce the deacons' names next week on the 3rd, and then probably on the 17th, we'll vote on the deacons, the new deacons, and then on September 1st, they will enter into office. So we'll have next year, instead of the 9 deacons we had this year, we'll have 11 deacons. I think our effort this year has been successful. We've identified some good men who are not only good men, but they have wives who are going to support their efforts as deacons. So that's where we stand on this. We'll be making an announcement next week as to the people who have been asked and who have agreed to serve as deacon. Is there anything else we need to say about the deacons? I think that's about it. My mind's starting to overload here, so I think that's about it. But we appreciate the church trusting us to use this new approach, and I think it was highly successful. Thank you so much.
If you're in favor of adopting the report, would you say aye? Any opposed, like sign. Ann, do you want to share anything from personnel?
Yeah, the personnel committee we meet every month, and security has been an issue that we have been real concerned about. And Frank and Woody both came to our last meeting, and they shared what they were working on. So we were in support of what they come up with. We haven't seen the plan, so we don't know what the plan's, because he was working on it. So I think Brother Jeff's seen it, and he said Woody's seen it. So
I haven't finished reading it yet,
okay.
but I've
started. Hopefully we'll be able to see it soon, and we appreciate that. We appreciate y'all praying for us. There's several things we're working on right now, and we're praying about it. And so y'all be in prayer for your church family, your staff, and your church family. And I appreciate our staff. Thank you, Donnie. Here's Buddy. Oh, thank you, Buddy. And thank you, Brother Jeff. And thank you, Sharon. I said Sharon last, and I didn't mean to make her last. She's very important to our children's department. So I'll make sure y'all do say things to your staff members and thank them for what they do. Just because you don't see them all the time up here at this church doesn't mean they're not working. They're constantly doing things. And Sharon and of course, we know that Donnie are only part-time, but they put in more hours than what they're asked to put in, and I appreciate that. And then we're working on, as we said, Donnie kind of keeps us straight about some of the decisions we have to make about the financial part, so we thank Donnie for being our member in our committee. I'm pushing the thing about committees because they're in search of filling committees up now. I think Nyla and Patsy, and who else is on that committee? You're not on it this time. But we have several committees that we need a lot of help on. If you feel like you can do something and on committee, please see Nyla Martin or see Patsy. Patsy find out who's on that committee. Janice Lepley's on there. But we have several committees that need a lot of help. So if you feel willing to be called to do that, please do so.
all right. If you're in favor of receiving the report from personnel, would you say aye? Any opposed, no? Elizabeth, how about sharing about the women's ministry right quick?
So today we recognize teachers for their back-to-school gift as a part of our teacher ministry. We recognized and prayed over 6 teachers from within our congregation. On Tuesday, we're providing a back-to-school breakfast for Slingleaf Elementary, which is our adopted school. We have an event scheduled for September. We're going to have a paint party where an art teacher will guide us on creating a painting. And the Dare to Hope ministry, where we provide monthly meals to women at risk, is going well, and we have meals planned through the fall.
Thank you, ma'am. If you're in favor of receiving that report, would you say aye? Any opposed, no? Brother Buddy, do you have anything you need to share with us? Okay, all right. Brother Donnie, I know you got some things to share with us, I'm sure.
Yeah, youth, we did a couple things over the summer. We had our beginning of the year, our beginning of the summer slip and slide. That's always a success. By the way, y'all are always welcome. We have one at back to school, so if any of y'all want to hit the slip and slide in about mid-August on a Wednesday night, it'll be available. We carried 13 students to Wired. 13 students to camp, 9 students to Wired, and we've been bowling over the summer. On the summer, we get outside the church a little bit and still have devotions on Wednesday nights. Still have a few more activities before we get back in school. Teachers start tomorrow, and then students start the following Tuesday, so keep us all in prayer.
If you're in favor of receiving the youth report, would you say aye? Any opposed, say no. Just a point of encouragement. You might want to think twice about doing camp and Wired back to back. Okay. And vacation Bible. All right. Ms. Sharon, share with us about the children.
Well, we have had a very, very busy summer also. We had our little get-together in June for our being out of school, and everybody was real excited. And we had a great time here. And then we've taken a break from going through the books of the Bible in the Old Testament for the summer. We have been studying about Matthew and Jesus and all the stories in the books of Matthew. And we also did, the Wired kids came here, and Sarah got to be our leader here for Wired. And it was, we hosted the church, the Wired kids here to help with Extreme Kids. And we had a wonderful time. We had a lot of kids here, and Sarah did a great job in being the leader for the Wired team for that. We also, of course, Donnie went to camp for our kids. I didn't have to go because we didn't have any little girls get to go this year. A lot of them had to go to their dads for the summer. But thank you. And the most wonderful thing that happened to y'all at camp was Jacob getting saved. Praise the Lord. We've had 5 little ones get saved this summer. And then, like I said, we're really have most of the kids come on Wednesday nights. And so we're going to pray that we get more of this generation to come to Sunday school on Sunday mornings. But we have a lot of kids come on Wednesday nights. And we're just really excited what the Lord is doing. And we're getting ready to just kick off and get back to school. And thank y'all for supporting us so much in the children's department. There's so many of y'all that help us, and we couldn't do it without you. Thank you.
I should have been allowing you to ask any of these people questions, but I figured probably if you had one, you would ask it anyway. But any questions? If you're in favor of receiving the children's report, would you say aye? Opposed, no. Keith, are you representing the teenagers?
I guess the only thing is that Thursday night we had the old-fashioned ice cream social, and for those that show, we had about 30-some people there, and it was a very successful. The object was not so much was the socialization with among each other, and I think that's what the church really needs to be able to have functions where we just don't come in and go home, where we sit and talk and get to meet other people. And I think we attained that objective very, very well. And we're planning our September program, and right now we're kind of looking at having a fish fry on the first part of September, Patty. That's what I said, October. I thought we said September. No. I'm wrong, October. So that's it.
Brother Donnie will let y'all use the slip and slide if the teenagers would be interested in it.
Yeah, I think we'll pass on that one. Yeah, we'll throw Frank down it.
Yeah. Any questions? If you're in favor of receiving the teenager report, would you say aye? And opposed, no. Barbara, are you sharing about missions and anything on GROW? Just missions.
Yeah.
Okay.
What now?
Don't worry about it, just do the missions. I knew if you didn't respond to it, you didn't know, so.
Okay. This is the missions report for July 27th. The GROW team activities, the GROW team leaders are Marie Riles, Kay Deloney, Jeanette Floyd, and Alice Davis. New movers invitation cards were sent through May, 100 to 125 per month. The multiple visitors in the second quarter of 2025 was 8 new members. The follow-up cards were sent to Extreme Kids families, VBS cards being sent soon also. Outreach is paused for assessment of the past 5 years and planning for our future. August 5th meeting. The Missions Committee, following the Lord in missions according to Acts 1:8. Missions Committee members, Barbara Braswell, Colette and Alice Davis, Karen Taylor, Pastor Jeff Ross, Edwin Santiago, Baptist Men's, and Elizabeth Smith Women's Ministry. The North Carolina Disaster Relief Team of 11 members went to Western North Carolina in May, serving 2 families under the Emergency Rapid Rebuild Program of Baptist on Missions. An interest meeting is scheduled for August 10th at 3:30 for possible team October 5th through the 11th. Armenia, we continue to pray for Armenia and plan for ways to support kingdom work there. Mission Opportunities brochure has been updated and will be distributed starting in September. The Alabama State Mission Offering will be received during the month of September. The prayer for all ministries and mission underway are being planned. The Missions Committee covets everyone's prayers for the Lord's continued grace and guidance for Heritage Baptist Church involvement in his kingdom work. And she put a verse on here. But you shall receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you, and you shall be witnesses to me in Jerusalem, and in all Judea and Samaria, and to the end of the earth. Acts 1:8.
Any questions related to GROW or missions? If you're in favor of receiving the report, would you say aye? No, as opposed? I had a couple of questions. Buddy, I guess as far as Constitution and bylaws, I know we're kind of had been at a standstill during the summer months. I know we have elected some new people to serve on that team. So. I'm sorry. I didn't think about it. Hey, we're pretty high tech around here to be able to.
Yeah, the Constitution and Bylaws Committee, of course, the team changed with the new church year. We started with just the basic things of fixing things in our Constitution that were needed, that like we're now the SA, the SABA, and just the times that we meet, we did not meet monthly like the Constitution bylaws said, and things to bring us in line with that. We actually have done that, and we have it so it shows the old in red and the other stuff in new, but we also we were requested to add some things that were needed, way to have church if we have a pandemic again or whatever, how to do business, and so we added those, but we had some requests for other things, and we just got busy and have not completed that yet. So at some point we will bring a recommendation to the church. It'll be in stages, just simple stuff, and then add the others as we go.
Thank you, sir. I called him. He didn't have a lot of time to prepare for that one. Anybody have any questions concerning that? Yes, sir. Hang on a second. That's quicker than going up and down the stairs, isn't it?
Been that? I just wanted to ask, where are we on our director of the families, the pictures, the books, whatever? Does anybody know anything about that?
Let me come back to that in just a moment, okay? All right? I don't, but if you're in favor of adopting the report from the Constitution and bylaws, would you say aye? Any opposed, no? All right, sir. As a point of order, now you can, if we have any new business or old business, you're able to answer the question. Yes, sir.
Can you hear me now? I was just asking about the director. We've made pictures, we've had this, we've had that. When, where, how, somebody tell us what's going on. Does anybody know?
It's going to be ready when Jesus comes back. I'm not supposed to speak to it. Donnie, come here. I'm going to relinquish to you to be able to answer that question. Okay.
I'm now acting as moderator.
Yes, sir. You're the active moderator. Oh, I've got mine on. It's a good question. It has been a long, long, long process. We determined that, Ann, help me out. Are you on there? Huh? Okay, you know about it though. Help me out. I think what they determined was the lady that we had worked with, that it was just difficult to finish it. And I talked with Nyla recently about that. Her and Sue are going to handle it, and we may have to go through the picture process again. But it will probably be done long before the other one would ever have been done. Does that make sense? Have you lost weight since that time? All right. Okay, they're contacting 2 or 3 services to that. And I apologize. Not much on our part that we could have really done much different than just being patient, and it was just time to move on from that. So. Okay.
The directory is a great idea, I believe. But the first time we have a new member join, then that directory is going to be out of date. So why not we have an online directory that can stay up to date just like that? I mean, I just hate to see us spend money on a directory that's going to go out of date the first time we get a new member. That's just...
It's a possibility, but it is something that we could possibly do that in-house. So that is a possibility. I haven't gotten back my powers yet, so I guess I can speak to this, I guess. I know it's been a difficult road with that, but I'm certain that between Nyla and Sue, there will be results on that soon, shortly.
Do we have the capability to obtain the pictures that were taken from the past vendor?
I don't know, but I will find out.
It could save us a lot of time and effort if we were able to obtain, if she doesn't claim ownership of the pictures, if she would relinquish them, that would save us a lot of time and effort.
If that's a possibility, we'll explore that. All right, I'm relinquishing my position back, okay? Are there any other items that we need to address tonight? Any other items of business? All right, yes, ma'am. September. Now, financially, it's January. But church year. Yeah. Any other questions? If you're in favor of adjourning tonight, the meeting,